Welcome to episode 3. A lot more must-know chess patterns here to get you stronger at chess. This is a pattern I see a lot in a two knights Caro-Kann, where the knight and the bishop team up for this kind of checkmate. At the moment, the bishop's stopping it, but we're X-ray threatening checkmate in one with two pieces. So we got two attackers, one defender, queen to f7, bishop takes, and our X-ray attacker comes in for support, teaming up with the knight. I hope you scanned for patterns and saw that the same pattern appeared. Bishop and knight teaming up for a checkmate here. Problem being, of course, this rook is defending that square, so we need to deflect the checkmate defender. We play queen to h5, sacrificing the queen. If the rook takes, we follow up with the checkmate. If they block like this, we can just take it with either the bishop or the queen. Happy days. We're switching the theme a little bit here. I can tell by the king being in the corner and the rook at the end here, there might be some sort of back rank mate, but I can see this rook is overworked, it's overloaded, it's both stopping this rook from checkmating on the back rank, and it's defending this rook. Because we're going for a checkmate in two, what we can do is create a second checkmate threat. We have one checkmate and one threat. We can make a second checkmate threat. How do we do this? We can create a battery. So it's actually, the move is to sacrifice your queen here. Queen c4, because if they take it with the rook, it's back rank checkmate. And if they don't take the queen and play any random move, we've created this battery checkmate in one like this. Won't spend too much time on this one. It's just going to be a back rank checkmate. So the queen can sacrifice, take the rook, king takes, and we come up for a back rank checkmate. 475. Here we take advantage of the pinned piece. The knight is pinned, so it's not actually defending this square. And you can see that we've got the queen and the rook also x-raying the square, attacking it twice, and that's going to be checkmate at the back. So we can sacrifice the queen, rook takes, and that's going to be checkmate there. 476. We've got a new pattern here. When the bishop and the rook team up like this is what's called an opera mate, made famous by Paul Morphy, his Opera House game. It's actually the first video I ever covered, so feel free to go back into my mini master series and find that game. Probably the most instructive game of all time. It's the easiest to memorize blindfold if you want to get into that. If we're threatening opera mate here, the problem is this rook, it can take it. We need to remove the checkmate defender. How do we do this? We can play queen to h6, sacrificing the queen. If the rook takes, we play our opera mate like so. If the queen blocks, we just take it with the queen. If you're paying attention to the last one, you will have spotted there's a pattern here. Opera mate, it's just on the other side of the board. The good thing about this book is it moves it each direction, because in chess you're never going to get the opera mate in the exact same spot, so you got to see it from all different angles. X-ray threatening an opera mate. Problem being is this pawn's in the way. How do we get rid of it? We can play queen to a6. We are threatening checkmate in one here. There's not much they can do about it. Also, if they take, we've opened up the scope of our X-ray attacker. The rook can come in and provide the opera mate. You never forget a famous game. This is from the opera game itself, where Paul Morphy took on royalty. He took on a count and the duke. They were both versing him at the same time in front of a live audience. X-ray threatening the opera mate again. Problem is this knight's in the way. We get rid of it. We sacrifice the queen. Queen to b8. Knight takes, and we come in. We've made history. This is the opera game. If you didn't solve this instantly, you will by the end of this video. Again, the pattern is an opera mate. How do we make this happen? We're X-ray attacking this square twice, so we can sacrifice the queen. Rook must take, and then we come in and get our opera mate. This is the biggest opera mate I've ever seen. Bishop, queen, rook, teaming up. 3 attackers, 1 defender. Take, sacrifice the queen. Bishop takes, rook takes, teaming up. This way. 481. King stuck in the corner. I'm seeing another opera mate theme here with the bishop and the rook, but this rook's in the way. We need to sacrifice the queen to both get rid of the rook and vacate this square, clearing the square for the rook. King must take, and then we come in and we do another opera mate. 482. What patterns do you see here? I'm spotting another opera mate over here with another checkmate defender. We need to remove this fella. We can sacrifice the queen. Either rook's going to take, we can play our opera mate. Building upon the knowledge from previous puzzles, we're going to combine it together, and we're going to use a decoy sacrifice to force the king into a checkmating net to follow up with an opera mate. Let me show you how that works. Queen to c3 here. If they take the sacrifice, then we can play rook here in the spirit of an opera mate. The coordination between your bishop and your rook will change forever the more you solve these opera mates. That's why this is so important. You'll stop missing moves like your opponent infiltrating with their rook, and you'll spot more so automatically when your rook can invade using the bishop. If they don't take the queen, the sacrifice, and they move to the side, well then we're just gonna give the checkmate with the bishop here, and there's nowhere for them to go. 484, definitely in the spirit of Paul Morphy here. You can see that we're x-ray threatening an opera mate, but the knight's in the way. We can promote to queen or rook, either works. Knight's gonna take, deflecting out of the way, so we can come in with that opera mate. 485. I'm hoping you guys are starting to almost solve these instantly. That's what we're trying to do. That's why I'm doing so many of these. It's so important. You can't just do a pattern once. You need to drill it over and over again. Here we're x-ray threatening another opera mate like so. Problem is this knight is in the way. We need to get rid of it. So we can sacrifice the queen. Knight takes. We've opened up the scope of our x-ray attacker so the rook can come in and deliver checkmate. 486. Can you spot the pattern? We're x-ray threatening an opera mate here. Problem is this knight, we need to get rid of it. We sacrifice the queen, deflect it out of the way to increase the scope of our x-ray attacker again, and the rook comes in with a checkmate in the corner.